Let's start with Geeta Dhyana. Om. O Bhagavad Gita, by which Arjuna was illumined by Lord Krishna himself, and which was composed of 18 chapters from within the Mahabharata by the ancient sage Vyasa. O Divine Mother, destroyer of rebirth, who showers the nectar of oneness upon us. O Bhagavad Gita, my affectionate mother, on thee I meditate. All the Upanishads are the cows. The milker is the cowherd boy, Krishna. Arjuna is the calf. People of purified intellect are the drinkers, and the milk is the supreme nectar of the Gita. My salutations to the Lord, who is the source of supreme bliss, whose grace makes the mute eloquent, and the crippled cross mountains. Hari Om Tat Sat. Very good. Hari Om Tat Sat. These mantras are very good for you, Fio. Oh. Okay, cosmic form. Yoga of the cosmic form. Did we, Saturday, I didn't have the opportunity to watch our Saturday morning.
Yeah, we kept going.
From?
No. I went back a bit. I went over Arjuna talking, or asking Krishna.
Okay.
Just to sort of recap that.
Okay.
So that I wasn't.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
So
from Swami Chinmayananda.
Okay, so we continue with, and now Krishna is beginning to reveal. He's placed his divine finger upon the third eye, and he's provided the cosmic vision. And so now recognize we're all jaded, especially in the West. We're all jaded. We think we've seen everything. We think we've done everything. We think we know everything. It's all accessible to us. So we say universe, and every one of us have seen pictures from Hubble telescope and other photographs of universal shapes and all of that, right? So therefore we think we know something about the universe. But of course, when we're seeing the photographs, we're seeing just snapshots of little 1-degree perspectives of the vastness of the cosmos, right? Even if we get a moving picture of it, it's infinitesimal. But also, if you can imagine that you've never seen any of that before, we have the idea that the ancients, they would sit on this planet, they might imagine the planet to be flat or something like this. We would imagine this of the ancients. And in fact, that was a common view at some point in some parts of society. And then there was the view that the sun and the solar system, all of these stars, they revolved around. And then the others, because we didn't see any movement with them, that they're just there, kind of like on the night sky, pinpoints on the night sky. And so it's very interesting as we step through this, because we're talking about objects that no human being would have seen at that time physically. Right? No telescope, no human being would have physically seen those objects that are being discussed here at this point. So it would have to be some other way of seeing. For it to be seen, it would have to be some other way of seeing. Not a physical way of seeing, not with these physical eyes, not with a Hubble telescope and like this.
A substance.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll pick up with Swami Venkatesananda. He's got a lovely commentary for this morning. So Lord Krishna speaks, behold the Aditya, the Vasu, the Rudra, the two Ashvin, and also the Marut. Behold many wonders never seen before, O Arjuna. Now behold, O Arjuna, in this my body, the whole universe centered in one, including the moving and the unmoving, and whatever else thou desirest to see. And Swamiji adds this commentary. He says, one of the most significant and beautiful declarations repeated in the Bhagavad Gita a number of times in different formulations is that there is nothing in the universe except the divine. In chapter 10, verses 21 to 23, we came across the same expressions as we have in verse 6 above. I repeat these names of these different divine forces that are appearing as the planets, the suns, the gravity, all of the effects in this universe. He says they're worth investigating to discover their physical or astronomical identity. There's a lot of discussion about them in the Bhagavatam as well, in these different divine forms that are what we call universe or planets or solar systems or suns, etc. It's a completely different way of seeing. You see, we've grown up seeing them and imagining them to be things, separate things that somehow have some independent life. It's very jaded. Even the modern scientists, they've come to not see them in that way. Right? Because they look for something deeper in truth, where we tend, certainly in society today, to take things at their face value. But here what Lord Krishna is expressing is that these are all divine forms, all part of the one, all part of the universal one. Om Namah Shivaya. He says, verse 7 is most important. The universe is God's body, although this is not obvious. And he gives some allegory here to help. He says, this one thought will solve all of our problems and dissolve the ignorance that produced them. This cosmic body of God is centered in one, rooted in one, built around one. And then he gives this, he says, an imperfect analogy, which is, if we look at our own existence, we can see it, what he's sharing. He says, just as our body and mind are superimpositions on the one soul, even so, the multifarious moving and non-moving, sentient and insentient objects of the world are centered in the one which needs no name because it is unique. So, normal conversation, if the word soul comes up, it's like, and I was having a conversation with two women yesterday evening that saw the orange and just wanted to have a conversation. And so, and they talked a little bit about their religious background and beliefs. And the concept again gets shared that we have a soul. We have a soul. But that's never what's being shared. No one ever says that in the teachings. You are a soul. You are a soul. And you have a body, as it were. As it were. So, and I hear these lovely concepts, having a human experience, so something like that.
Yeah.
The soul having a human experience. So, but if you can just center and visualize yourself as soul instead of as body with a soul, if you can allow for that, then you can see that all of this equipment is as it were, supporting the soul. And all of this different equipment. So the digestive systems, the breathing systems, the fleshly, the bones, all of the support structures, all of this are all centered around, as it were, one soul. And so, and a little bit more sophisticated view of it, we can say within one soul. Interesting that we get the Carillion photography and such that actually show the astral body as extending out beyond the physical body. So you can say within one soul, and that's not a big stretch. And of course, this soul is not. We can imagine it to be an aspect of the supreme soul, Paramatman. Paramatman being the supreme soul, the absolute soul, which is all inclusive of every one of these souls. And also this body is the body of the Paramatman. So all of these, and this is the vision that's being given, is seeing all of these astral bodies within the one. And once again, this vision is being given. The vision is being given because it's been asked for. Not just asked for, begged for. Not just asked for, begged for. So Swamiji, on his commentary, continues. He says, just as the different part of the body and the different faculties of the mind inhere in the one soul, even so the multifarious moving and unmoving, sentient and insentient objects of the world are centered in the one, which needs no name because it is unique and capable of being compared or contrasted. The diversity implied is apparent, yet the charm lies in the wisdom of perceiving the underlying unity. So we see the different objects. That's apparent to us, right? And he says, but the charm lies in seeing the unity in which they exist. Life is not obvious. The truth is not obvious. What is obvious meaning what you see or sense, what's obvious to you is a creation of the mind. Thus you can see in the universe, the body of God, whatever else thou desirest to see. The world is only the projection of our past and present wishful thinking. The reality is that it is the one body of God. However, even this knowledge is not so obvious. Hence, the wise man constantly remembers that there is an unobvious reality in the universe, which is the reality. For sadhaka, for one wanting to relate to live in truth, or to be free, or to reach that state of satisfaction, this is essential. Because there is only one reality. There seem to be multiple, but any way we come at it, whether it is through science or a deep dive in meditation you find one deep reality. And there is no separation. In real, true, deep karma yoga, it's the same. You lose yourself. In deep love, in deep expression of bhakti, it's the same. You lose yourself. And so, and having lost oneself, if you compare notes, the experience that's gained is the same experience that anyone else in losing themselves has. So, truth is no division, no separation, only one. And so the sadhaka has to come to this point. So again, not as it appears, deeper reality. And that concept of the deeper reality wants to be meditated upon. We want to find the ability in each moment to relate to the deeper reality, the real reality, what's real here, as opposed to that which is constantly changing. In the moments that are constantly changing, to always find our center in the center. In the real instead of in the ephemeral. Not tossed about by the waves. Okay, I'm going to pick up the other to continue. Okay. So 7 again, the translation a little bit different. Look at my body, O Arjuna. You will see the entire universe there, all that moves and all that seems to be unmoving. Why would he say that? This is Swami adding a commentary. Why would he say that seems to be unmoving? This seems to be unmoving, right? But in fact, the only way you can see it is because it's moving. If it were actually not moving, you couldn't see it. Because the movement is the vibration. If the vibration weren't there, you couldn't see it. As well as anything else you wish to see, and all the parts are the same, which is me. But you cannot see my cosmic form just with your physical eyes. I will give you spiritual vision. Now behold my yoga Ishvara. So this is the moment when he offers that vision. And then Sanjaya speaks. After saying this, Your Majesty, and Sanjaya is narrating the entire Gita, so we get reminded of this at this moment. And he's speaking to Dhritarashtra, the blind king. So after saying this, Your Majesty, Sri Krishna, the Supreme Master of Yoga, revealed to Arjuna his cosmic form as God. And then describes everywhere, millions of faces, eyes seeing everything, countless mouths, all speaking wonders, and visions too numerous to describe. All this in a bejeweled heaven with infinite upraised arms, revealing miraculous powers, a divine weapon in every hand. So divine weapons like?
Discus.
Like thunderbolts. Yeah. So when we see the universe in motion, when we see in the expansive cosmos, we see explosions everywhere. We see objects running into each other. We see asteroids being born. We see suns appearing and suns exploding in supernovas. It's like an undulating sea, as it were. If you step back and you can see it, and so something like this. Whose eyes are these?
Krishna's.
Whose eyes are those?
Krishna's.
Who's seeing out of them?
Krishna.
The ant's eyes?
Lots of eyes.
Lakshmi's eyes? Yeah. So this is a point that you can get a real wow with if you allow yourself to experience it, which is how many eyes on this planet? And then the earth itself is living, breathing. We know this. The The ancient traditions, the earth-based traditions, the Aboriginal traditions, etc., know it.
Yeah.
They know that this earth is living, breathing, yes? And it's sensing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so every one of the planets alive, every one of the asteroids alive, vibrating into one life, and relating to and seeing and sensing every object in this way, even the atoms relating. And how many eyes? EYE. Yeah. Unimaginable. But now allow yourself to see them as what they are instead of what you've imagined them to be.
Yeah, I guess it can be easy to think that they're part of that person, or they're the.
That's
That's the dull way of thinking about it.
That's what's obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is impossible.
Yeah.
It's not that. It can't be that. It can't be that. So here, speaking of a different way of seeing it, that's being offered. Oh. Clothed in mantles of light and garlands of blossoming heavens. Have you ever seen photographs that would relate to this? Yeah. Clothed in mantles of light and garlands of blossoming heavens, the infinite, wondrous, and resplendent one, facing everywhere simultaneously.
He's going deep, Arjuna's.
Oh, yeah, it's getting a little scary by now.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God.
Oh.
It seems a little safer when you can imagine them to be separate from you out there somewhere. And all of the stuff that's happening, not a part of you, away. And I can be safe here in my little place and watch it all. But the beauties upon beauties, the light, the streams of light throughout the asteroids basking in the glow of the sun, streaking through the sky, and then nebulae stretching out. So clothed in mantles of light and garlands of blossoming heavens, the infinite, wondrous, and resplendent one, facing everywhere simultaneously, in the presence of divinity and indescribable fragrance. If 1,000 suns were to blaze in the sky at the same time, their splendor would be something like the radiance of the Supreme Self, the Mahatma.
That's a lot of power, 1,000.
There in the body of God, of the God of gods, Arjuna saw the manifest universe, manifold universe, in its entirety, with its many levels and divisions, all resting in their essential oneness. And Swamiji adds a little commentary. He says, in the comic vision, everything is seen as a little cell of that great body, just as we have millions and millions of cells in this body. In a way, we are all cells of the cosmic body. Certainly, we can each be proud because we're all cells in the cosmic body of God. And God needs every cell. Nobody's undesirable, nobody is inferior, and nobody is superior. And he says Arjuna really saw everything then. And Arjuna's hair stood on end. This is back to the This is back to the shloka. Arjuna's hair stood on end. Amazed and ecstatic, he fell in adoration before the Lord, pressed his palms together near his heart, and he spoke. O Lord, I see all the devas in you. Your body contains every living creature and all levels of evolution. So also past, present, future. So all of this at a glance. one of the 4 episodes we saw tried to show it as a cake, the past, present, future, and all of space. Right? We can slice it this way, slice it that way. So here the vision, but the vision with, and if you actually look, reflect, you can see the capacity to relate in some way inside ourselves, and to see it, and to the extent we can step back and catch it. Even just allow ourselves to see the sparkle of life in everything here in this room. Just invite that deeper level of seeing. And then to step back. In yesterday's service, we talked about our paths as being about attitude and altitude. And this is really what we're working with in sadhana. Attitude, how do we address our lives and the opportunities that come during the days, during the moments? What's the attitude that we adopt towards life? Are there problems or are there opportunities? Is this mundane or is this divine? And this is the bhava, this is the attitude that we adopt. And we have free reign. We don't really have control over the things that happen to us, but we have absolute control over the attitude that we adopt to the things that happen. And of course, there's a lot of weight, a lot of baggage. But the baggage doesn't craft the attitude that we take. It gives us an opportunity as we relate to it to adopt a new attitude and altitude. We read the first Hopi precept, which talks about a life lived in experience, in learning, and in prayer. In experience, in learning, and in prayer. In order to gain the eagle eye view of life. And the eagle eye view of life is this view in a way that Arjuna is being given here, which is the ability to step back and to see here in space and time the one divine sparkling everywhere. So attitude and altitude. Okay, we'll come back in the morning. It's quite a scene, and our little bit of experience with the photographs and the videos and such that we've seen of the universal forms can be helpful, of course. Questions, comments? Would that we can see what's here. Would that we can live in alignment with what's here. And this is really our opportunity and our work both. Okay. Oh. Mataji? All right, we'll close with final prayer and repeat page 174. So the next time someone tweaks you a little bit, step back and remind yourself, a cell in the body of God. Each of us. And maybe it won't seem like such a big deal. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Orvai Rukameva Bandanan, Mechor Mokshiyamamritat, Om Trayambakam Yajamahe, Sugandim Pushtivardhanam, Orvai Rukameva Bandanan, Mechor Mokshiyamamritat, Om Trayambakam Yajamahe, Sugandim Pushtivardhanam, Orvai Rukameva Bandanan, Mechor Mokshiyamamritat, Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, Sarve Shantu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Makashit Dukhabhat Bhave, Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityur Mahamritam Gamaya, Om Purnamida Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Adorable Lord of mercy and love, salutations and prostrations unto thee. Thou art omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient. Thou art Satchidananda. Thou art existence, knowledge, and bliss absolute. Thou art the indweller of all beings. Grant us an understanding heart, equal vision, balanced mind, faith, devotion, and wisdom. Grant us inner spiritual strength to resist temptation and to control the mind. Free us from egoism, lust, anger, greed, hatred, and jealousy. Fill our hearts with divine virtues. Let us behold thee in all these names and forms. Let us serve thee in all these names and forms. Let us ever remember thee. Let us ever sing thy glories. Let thy name be ever on our lips. Let us abide in thee forever and ever. On Lord Sakura Shivananda Maharaj Ki, and for all of the saints and sages of all the traditions. And let's stand for arati.